Hey guys, alright. Still with only 3 hours of sleep, we are now going to be watching another short video. This time, why don't countries formally declare war anymore? Short animated documentary by History Matters. Uh, I really only know the answer to this question on the side of America. America has given the president a lot of power in terms of their war waging capabilities without actually needing Congress to declare it a war. They originally, I think, in the Constitution, I think it says the president can only use the troops for like war waging purposes for like 30 days, maybe 60 days max, um, without congressional declaration of war or something. I'm not too sure. But it has been expanded upon since Korea. Vietnam really expanded it. And then also the 9/11 attacks also even greater expanded the capabilities. And I think another reason is that no country wants to formally declare war on the terrorist organizations because they don't want their. When one formally declares war, there's kind of a sense of acknowledging the acknowledging the legitimacy of that government by formally declaring war on them through, Congress. So by not declaring formal war on like ISIS or Al Qaeda, what it does is it sends a message that the government, the world powers don't recognize you as a formal government, if that makes sense. Like you're not a recognized country or whatever. Now of course, this does not really apply to the United States all the time because Vietnam, well, I guess no, North Vietnam was recognized country and the United States did not formally declare war, but then again, that was supposedly a UN peacekeeping fucking something, I don't know. Gulf of Tonkin rigged the fake news. God, I need sleep. I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna get the answer from History Matters because they're probably right. Let's be real here. I'm probably wrong. Well, I don't think I'm too wrong with the United States part, but yeah.
Historically, wars were begun by a formal declaration of war. These would often come in two forms. One via direct communication with a foreign government by delivering a letter or telegram, or two through a government minister asking for the passport of a foreign ambassador, thereby revoking their diplomatic immunity. But since the Second World War, there have been very few formal declarations of war and none by the major global powers, which raises the question, why not? Why did nations stop formally declaring war? So, to give examples of why, we're going to look at two conflicts from the Cold War. The Vietnam War between the USA and North Vietnam, and the Falklands War between Britain and Argentina. Be aware that the general reasons for there not being declarations of war in these conflicts can be applied to most other conflicts too. So, the first major difference between the world pre and post World War II is that a new international framework existed, the United Nations, and the UN had very strict guidelines on what were legal grounds for war. So, in the case of Vietnam, there was no declaration of war for several reasons. The first was that the US saw itself as aiding one side in an already ongoing civil war. It didn't recognise North Vietnamese independence and thus it had no one to declare war on. As far as the US government was concerned, it was aiding the legitimate Vietnamese government against an uprising, not fighting a war against any legitimate state. The second reason was the United Nations. There was no way that the USSR was going to approve a war against a fellow communist state. And the third reason was that domestically there was no need to. You see, normally a declaration of war was needed to implement the draft, but for America, the draft from World War II had never technically ended. After the Gulf of Tonkin incident, in which a US destroyer in the region was attacked by Vietnamese patrol boats,
supposedly attacked, and I think it's actually been proven that it was staged or something, that the United States, purposely put the ship there so that it would get attacked or something like that. I can't remember. Tell me in the comments, please.
Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which gave President Lyndon B. Johnson the right to deploy troops for combat operations without a formal declaration of war.
Yeah.
And after the Vietnam War, the US never needed to declare war because often its conflicts were much smaller, so no need for a draft. So what about the Falklands War? Why didn't Margaret Thatcher declare war on Argentina in 1982 after it seized the Falkland Islands? Thatcher did actually inquire as to whether or not a declaration of war was necessary, and she was told not to. And the reasons that she was advised against such action were simple. First of all, self-defense is a legal right according to the UN, and second, it would complicate relationships with neutral countries. Neutral states aren't allowed to provide arms for belligerents. Fighting nations can't use their territories or waters for transiting war materials, and they have to detain troops who enter their lands along with many other restrictions. The two nations of particular concern were Spain and Chile. Spain was against the war but had some sympathies towards the Argentinian position. Plus, given the placement of Gibraltar, British naval ships entering Spanish waters by accident had to be detained, and if they weren't, this could jeopardise Spanish neutrality. And as for Chile, some British troops were stationed there for reconnaissance, and if Britain were to declare war, then Chile would legally have to detain those troops or be considered a co-belligerent. And as for Argentina, it was sourcing weapons from other countries and getting reconnaissance from the USSR, hence why a declaration of war benefited neither side. And it's these reasons which determine why many nations have no need to formally declare war anymore. Domestic powers to fight wars are largely much greater than they used to be, and wars are often small scale enough that nations don't want to deal with the hassle of formally declaring war. And yet the main reason is that if a nation doesn't formally declare war, it doesn't change its relationship with other states, meaning for them it's as if the war was never happening, meaning nothing has to change. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Wow. Huh. Is that the full thing?
And thank you for watching. Aaron the White, Jordan Longley, Galski, Cy Chappelle.
Okay, just reading off their generous patrons. Very nice, very nice. Huh. That's really... Alright, so yeah, the United States one I was pretty correct on. The British one, I did not know. And that was pretty fucking interesting. Way more complex than I thought. I'm not gonna ramble here. I'm too tired. I don't know what else to say. Like I said in the video that was uploaded, I guess, yesterday for you guys. Why am I like this when I don't get sleep? I really don't fucking know. I'm sorry. It'll be better. The next two videos. It'll be better tomorrow. I hope. I really fucking hope. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a suggestion down below. Oh, fuck. Leave a suggestion down below for what you want to see me react to next, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Yeah.